So while sitting staring at my big list of topics that I might feel like talking about today, it hit me. The list itself would make kind of a great video. So, welcome to Sir Six's top 10 list of stupid woo and pseudoscience. That is in no particular order, isn't really a top of anything, and is more an excuse to rapid fire a bunch of topics and why they are silly, probably, for the fun of it, and to make something that's a little bit different. If I miss out on your top woo/pseudoscience, or one that you think is very important, too bad! This is my list, you can't have it. Go make your own list, with blackjack and hookers, if you're so bleeding clever. Preferably in the comments so I can steal your choices for future content. And that totally isn't the real secret reason for creating this video or nothing, I swear, officer. Anyway, enough preamble.
Let's do this, bitch.
Young Earth creationism. Well, if I'm going to start anywhere, I might as well start where most of YouTube began when it came to unscientific nonsense. Young Earth creationism, that much maligned topic covered by all the greats. And also me, I think. If not directly, then tangentially. I can't actually remember, and if I haven't, I will. But yeah. According to Young Earth creationism, the Earth, which was definitely made by Mr. God TM, is a mere 5,000 to 6,000 years old, despite what all the evidence says. Because... ... Bible. That's it. The only people who buy into Young Earth creationism are Bible literalists. And the Bible is literally false. Mostly because it was written by stupid sick damn men, and even if it was inspired by Senor Goddington's word, well, I wouldn't trust a who-mans to get anything right. So their claims crumble to dust pretty much immediately. But that doesn't stop them trying to prove it, usually by trying, and tremendously failing, to disprove the actual science, usually by the time-honoured method of misunderstanding or misrepresenting said science, and then wondering why everybody won't stop laughing at them. That may become a theme of this video, and my content in general. Flat Earth! Ah, the flat earth. It's like a nice, comfy set of fluffy pajamas that's also slowly dissolving your brain. The flat earth is one of those things that I can always come back to, and without fail, there's something new or an angle I haven't heard before to take a nice pointy stick and poke at until it, ironically, falls flat. The flat earthers, if you hadn't guessed or didn't already know because you have never heard of this newfangled internet thing, are people who earnestly believe that the earth is flat, and many of them base that idea off of a kind of literal interpretation of the Bible. Except no, because otherwise this and the previous group would cross over like a perfect Venn diagram of stupid, but they don't. It's almost like even taking the Bible literally will lead you to wildly differing conclusions. And those of them who don't base it off of the Bible mostly base it off of, ha, you don't believe what they tell you, do you? Lol, 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 you are dumb, anti-government, illuminabunuti, etc. And is another thread common to most, if not all, of the topics in our list today. Anti-vax! Potentially, anti-vax is the most damaging group of them all, and probably the one woo that has proponents in every single other woo, which is part of what makes them so dangerous. What's that? You believe this nonsense? But you let them they-therer inject you with some BS version of vaccines I just made up? Well, you might as well give them your lungs too! Of course, the main thing that makes them so dangerous is they are opposed to one of history's greatest lifesavers because, well, misinformation mostly, and the fact that generally the main demographic for receiving vaccines is children, and won't somebody please think of the children is a very easy way to switch off people's rationality almost immediately. It doesn't help that they are all medical experts somehow from about 7 hours of research, despite the fact that basically none of them have any medical training whatsoever, and those that do and still pretend vaccines are bad, and yes I mean pretend, could well be the worst people to ever exist, and that's quite an achievement. Anti-GMO! Well, this one could piss off a few otherwise rational people in my audience, but I don't care. GM, the technology for creating organisms with desirable traits, is not inherently bad. Yes, there are dipshit companies that do dipshit things with it, but that doesn't change the fact that to believe all GMOs are bad because of that fact makes you an idiot. The same way believing any one broad thing is bad because of the actions or effect of one related thing that isn't actually what it's about or even necessary to it. For example, like thinking the internet is bad because most internet service providers are led by a series of snakes wearing a suit made of a person. But unfortunately, that is the mindset of many people, and it can go so far as destroying crops in poor countries for poor communities because it's all bad. And even though, again, it's a technology and simply a more efficient way of giving something desirable traits when we used to do it by what was essentially making things do a big sex over and over again.
Bow chicka bow wow.
Instead, we can cleanly chippity choppity what we want and make better foods for everyone. And being opposed to that seems completely insane to me. I'll see you in the comments about how I am wrong for literally the reason I just stated isn't a good reason to hate GMO, and I'll be amazed if that doesn't happen. Chemtrails! Planes! Gases! Government gonna get us all! We all gonna die! Why is that, you ask? Well, because contrails exist and I don't understand how they work, so it must be sky poison designed to do, well, lots of things, but I'm not going to explain any of them. But none of them have what we in the biz call tangible evidence, unfortunately, which means that there's nothing to back them up. Things like population control and what have you. And hey, the one idea that could make sense actually happening, the idea of weather manipulation, wouldn't be as far-fetched. But it's always passenger airlines that they focus on. And that just isn't happening in those aircraft, because they have to fit like people in them. Homeopathy! It's sugar pills, or strips, or drops of water. But you know what it isn't? Medicine. And that includes it not being any or every other type of alternative medicine. And I have to mention this every time I talk about it now, because I can't count the number of times people have told me, but this homeopathy thing works, only to start talking about some other kind of alternative medicine that has literally nothing to do with homeopathy. It's not an umbrella term, it's very specific and very specifically stupid. You take a bit of something that gives you the same symptoms as the thing, so onion makes your eyes water, so it cures hay fever. Already bafflingly stupid and not even remotely how functional hay fever medicine works. But then you take a teeny tiny piece of it, put it in water, and then dilute the ever-loving crap out of it till not a speck of said onion exists, and then put a drop of that nothing water on your tongue or in a pill, and if you're lucky, you'll get a placebo effect out of it. Also, the more you dilute it, aka the weaker it is, the stronger it gets, because it can't just be stupid, it also has to be fegging magic. Mud fossils! Regular viewers will know I have a regular source for my mud fossil related content.
Okay, this is Google Earth. Roger, Mud Fossil University. Going to take a look at a dragon right here.
And while I am a big fan of Roger, he is far from the only person who shares this idea. That idea being that there are a hitherto unknown type of fossil, and they call them mud fossils. I don't know if there's a legitimate definition for that word, but that's not the definition that they are using here, if there is. And they just so happen to contain proof of things like giants and dragons and all manner of mythical nonsense. You can find a mud fossil yourself by looking at random piles of rocks or formations in a hill, searching for shapes and patterns that you can then point to as body parts or fins or wings and go, aha, that's the thing I think it looks like. No need to do anything else to check, and then bitch and moan that academic institutions think that you are a crank. That last part is very, very important. Otherwise, how are you supposed to feel like you are discovering the secrets of the ancients? Also, statues are mud fossils and not, well, big carvings of people/things shaped dealies that we literally have details of people making in a lot of cases. MMS! You know that one time you got into an argument on the internet and someone told you to go drink bleach? Yeah, well, some people were told that one time and took it so to heart that an entire woo was spawned. That is of course completely not true, but pretty much as ridiculous as the actual origins of MMS or magical mineral solution or whatever the hell they're calling it these days, aka bleach. And yes, it is a bleach. Just because it's not the same kind of bleach as the one you put in your toilet doesn't make it not a bleach. It bleaches things, it's a bleach. Drink it if you must, but be honest about what it is. Of course they don't do that because everybody knows not to drink bleach. Also, don't drink MMS. I was being facetious. Much like the hardcore anti-GMO sorts, proponents also have a habit of going to poor areas to screw with people who don't have it anywhere near as good as them. This time by running clinical trials of the bleach in an effort to cure whatever local issues, and come back with extremely spurious results that they are unwilling to share, but totally did do the thing they say they were going to do. Delightful people. Energy woo! Okay, so this one's a little bit more umbrella-y. Yes, that's a word. It means umbrella-like, and if I'm the first person to use it, I made it up and said it, it's mine, so I win. Sorry, I'm using energy woo to cover your Reiki, crystal, ki, chi, basically any type of woo when at some point someone starts talking about energies or spirit or any unseen force, and far more importantly, an undetectable force that can be used to heal people of whatever it is that ails them. It also will give people access to superpowers of many different kinds that somehow don't result in tangible effects like flight or super strength or speed, but boring stuff like vaguely feeling what other people are feeling but not really, and at a push being pretty good at cold reading, because your name is definitely Stephen. Your name is Stephen, the spirits done told me. What, it's not? Well, they changed it for you. You're welcome, Steve. Before we get to number 10, or 1, or I don't know, let's have a special mention / turbo debunk round. Let's go! Mandela effect. No, you don't know secrets from an alternative timeline. We didn't split off into a new dimension where things are the same but slightly different. You have a shitty memory and forgot the catchphrase for a popular brand of soap. Get over yourself. Acupuncture. If someone asked me if I wanted to have my body pierced with dozens, maybe even hundreds of needles, I would see that as a threat to my body, and so should you. Magnet therapy.
Fucking magnets, how do they work?
Anti-evolution. Also a popular creationist position, but not exclusive to it. Evolution is a fact, with a theory that explains it, but shouting, "It's just a theory," isn't an argument, it's a declaration that you have no idea what scientific theory actually is or means. Hollow Earth. Like the flat Earth, only dumber. The Earth is empty and doesn't collapse in on itself somehow. It would have made it to the top of the list, only far fewer people believe it, but it is still terminally silly though. Time travel! Yes, we all enjoyed the John Titor time travel bit, but it was just that, a bit. At the end of the day, we are all time travellers, all hurtling towards oblivion. Embrace it. Ancient civilization, something, 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 magic science. If ancient civilizations are so smart, how come they're all dead? Boom! Debunked, bitches! And finally, AIDS hoax. I was genuinely taken aback when I first heard this one, and that's probably why it's my not number one, but not last from least, I don't know. But yeah, there are people who genuinely think that AIDS is fake or a hoax. Some of them are known to shout it out of their cars.
AIDS is fake!
At first you might be like, well, that is very silly, but really, who cares? Who does it hurt? Etc. Well, you should care, especially if you know anyone with the condition, as these people are known to convince others to stop taking their medications for it. And while you can live a relatively long and normal life with the condition these days, if you keep on top of your medical needs, if you don't, you are in for a short and nasty few years of unnecessary suffering, and far too soon death is pretty much guaranteed. And anyone responsible for you taking that course of action is a piece of shit for doing so. So yeah, that was my kinda top 10 woo pseudoscience, but not really, plus a bunch more. But that would have made for a terrible title. Let me know in the comments what your faves are and what I missed. The more obscure and ridiculous, the better. And if you have some examples, even better still. And like I said, this is definitely not to save me from having to go find more things to cover myself, because I am far too handsome and lazy to do it, and then can spend my time eating fajitas and listening to heavy metal, as is my custom. Anyway, cheers! Why hello there you terrible people, the best kind of people. It's me, Sir Sick. Could you not tell? I just wanted to remind you all to subscribe, push the bell icon, and to check out my various social media things for other equally pointless content. And more importantly, to make sure that you know when a video comes out. Recently, it seems YouTube doesn't want you to know because I am so handsome, famous, and good at the sex, and they are jealous, obviously. It really helps me out if you do, and apparently if you are notification belled up, they have reset it or something, so check them settings to make sure you're getting what you're supposed to. Hopefully we can get my numbers back up, because my self-worth is directly related to how many internet people show up on my videos. I'm sure that's completely healthy, right? Also, don't forget to panic buy Sick Brand merch, and don't forget to panic crowd support the channel. Thanks very much.